There comes a time in life when time ceases to be merely a sequence of days and transforms into a mirror. After 60, this mirror becomes sharper, and in it we begin to see not only what the body has lived through, but what the soul has learned. It is at this stage that many realize that the true secret to longevity lies not in vitamins, diets, or exercise, but in how the spirit rests within us. Edgar Cayce, known as the sleeping prophet, believed that sleep was the soul's most sacred portal. He said that when we sleep, we not only rest the body, but allow the soul to return to the source from which it came. And on this silent journey, consciousness reorganizes, the body renews, and destiny aligns. But why then did Cayce talk about sleeping with a coin in hand? Many take this idea as a curious superstition, a meaningless ritual. However, the truth is that the gesture of the coin is symbolic, profound, and almost alchemical. The coin represents the cycle of exchange, giving and receiving, what flows and what remains. In the hand of a sleeping person, it becomes a silent reminder that nothing is possessed forever, that everything we have is a current that needs to keep moving. Cayce understood that the energy of life is lost when we stop offering, when the fear of scarcity makes us hold on to what we have, be it money, affection, or time. Sleeping with a coin is, then, an act of surrender. It is telling the universe, I trust, even when the body ages and human certainties fade. There is something magical about this small gesture, for it touches a forgotten spiritual truth, that matter and spirit are in constant dialogue. While the body rests, the unconscious converses with the invisible, and the symbols we touch or keep with us become messages for this subtle language of the soul. Cayce said that sleep is the moment when human beings come closest to God, because it is when they stop trying to control. The coin there becomes an anchor point between the physical and spiritual worlds, reminding us that the value of life is not in how much we accumulate, but in how much we let flow. After 60, many people feel the weight of time as if it were a demand, a feeling that something is being taken away. Youth, strength, opportunities. But perhaps the secret to longevity lies in reversing this view. Cayce taught that old age is not a loss, it is a harvest. It is when the field of existence returns the fruit of everything that was planted, and what matters is no longer the size of the harvest, but the purity of the seed. Sleeping with a coin in hand, therefore, is a ritual of consciousness. It is holding the symbol of the material world, and at the same time, surrendering it to the invisible. It is a reminder that you are still part of the flow of creation, still giving, still exchanging energy with life, and this keeps the spirit alive. Many accounts from people inspired by Cayce's teachings speak of subtle changes that occur after this practice. These are not miracles in the common sense, but silent transformations, deeper sleep, a feeling of lightness upon waking, an unexpected sense of gratitude. The body, sensing that the spirit is at peace, responds, and peace, according to Cayce, is the most potent of remedies. The mind that falls asleep in trust awakens in vitality, because vital energy, the so-called prana or divine force, flows where there is no fear. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this reflection is what it teaches us about the meaning of value. The coin is the universal symbol of human value, but spiritual value is not measured in quantities. It is measured in presence. A coin in hand can remind the elder that even with a tired body, they still have something to offer, their story, their experience, their compassionate gaze. Cayce said that an aged soul is like polished gold, softer but infinitely brighter. The secret to longevity, therefore, is not in prolonging days, but in making each night a return to what is eternal within us. There is also an implicit teaching in this ritual, that of mindfulness. When someone decides to sleep with a coin, they are making a pact with their own unconscious. They are telling themselves that every gesture matters, that every symbol can carry an intention. And intention is the key that opens the portals of the invisible. Cayce deeply believed in the power of the mind over the body, and affirmed that when the mind aligns with the spirit, the body follows in harmony. Thus, the simple act of holding a coin can become a silent prayer, an affirmation of abundance, an intimate conversation with the mystery of life. Imagine for a moment the symbolism of this. a cold and silent coin resting in the palm of your hand during sleep. As the body plunges into the darkness of the unconscious, that small metal circle becomes a hidden sun, radiating the reminder that everything you need is within yourself. Upon waking and opening your hand, there is something almost poetic in that instant. It's as if life once again offered itself to you, and you again could choose what to do with it. And perhaps this is the true longevity Cayce spoke of, not that which is measured in years, but in consciousness. For the person who sleeps in peace with the world, who surrenders to the night with faith and awakens with gratitude, is alive in a sense that time cannot touch. The coin is merely a reminder that the flow of existence continues, and that even the aging body is a river that still runs, a spirit that still shines, a flame that still converses with the infinite. If we observe calmly, we will realize that the true teaching behind the coin is not the object itself, but the state of surrender it awakens. Edgar Cayce understood that human beings are, above all, a field of energy in constant exchange with the universe. Every thought, every emotion, every gesture creates subtle waves that shape reality around us. When we sleep, these waves reorganize. It is as if the universe takes advantage of the mind's silence to restore the natural order of things. The coin then becomes a symbolic link in this process, a small physical reminder that abundance, balance, and vitality depend more on the internal flow than on external circumstances. After 60, this lesson takes on a special depth. Many begin to feel that life has lost its previous speed, that the body no longer responds in the same way, that the world seems to move at a different pace. But perhaps the secret is precisely this. Life slows down so that we can, finally, see. While the youthful years are made of races and achievements, maturity is the time for listening, to oneself, to the soul, to the universe. Cayce said that aging is the transition from noise to harmony, and that those who learn to listen to silence discover in it a wisdom that never ages. Sleeping with a coin is, in this sense, an act of reconciliation with the value of simple things. It is remembering that the sacred is not only in temples or scriptures, but also in the small gestures of everyday life. Cayce believed that the spirit communicates through symbols, and that matter can be a channel for this communication. Thus, when someone holds a coin before sleeping, they are creating a personal symbol of trust and gratitude, and the unconscious understands this language. It responds by sending peace, relaxation, and over time, a type of rejuvenation that is born from within. There is something profoundly transformative in how human beings relate to the objects around them. Everything we touch carries a vibration, and this vibration can be elevated by intention. Therefore, before sleeping, Cayce recommended a brief moment of silence, a thought of gratitude, and the recognition that the day was a gift even with its difficulties. Holding the coin then is like sealing a silent pact. I trust that there is a purpose in everything. I release what has passed and make space for the new. This attitude, repeated night after night, has the power to reprogram the mind and transform how the body responds to life. Modern science, curiously, is beginning to touch upon this same point in another language. Research on longevity shows that quality sleep and stress reduction are decisive factors for healthy aging. When the mind rests in a state of calm, the body activates cellular regeneration mechanisms, releases balancing hormones, and strengthens the immune system. Cayce, decades earlier, already intuited this by stating that the mind is the builder, that the body is nothing more than a reflection of internal harmony or conflict. Thus, sleeping with a coin in hand is not a mystical ritual disconnected from reality, but a living metaphor for the mind's power to generate balance and healing. At 60, 70, or 80 years old, the body may have its limitations, but the spirit remains limitless. Cayce insisted on this. The soul does not age, it merely accumulates experiences. And it is this wisdom that the gesture of the coin awakens. The recognition that even when the body rests, the spirit remains active, in communion with something greater. Many people report that, by adopting this practice, they began to dream more vividly, to feel a deeper connection to forgotten memories, or simply to wake up with an inexplicable feeling of serenity. It is no coincidence. When a bridge is created between the conscious and the unconscious, sleep ceases to be a void and becomes a dialogue. Cayce believed that dreams were messages from the soul, and that, by sleeping with a symbol in one's hands, one could guide this communication. The coin, a universal symbol of exchange, can transform into an invitation for the soul to reveal what is still blocked: old beliefs, hidden fears, unhealed pains. That is why he said that certain objects, when used with pure intention, become instruments of spiritual healing. The power is not in the metal, but in the vibration of the person holding it. What heals is consciousness. It is important to realize that the secret to longevity is not just a formula for living longer, but for living better. For Cayce, longevity was synonymous with purpose. He said that human beings truly age when they lose their sense of life, when they stop feeling useful, loved, or connected to something greater. Sleeping with a coin in hand is, in a way, reaffirming that purpose. I am still part of the flow. I still have something to give and something to receive. This awareness awakens a vital energy that no medicine can offer, because it comes from the soul itself. And it is curious to note how this simple gesture can alter the way we see the world. The coin, in its circular form, represents the eternal cycle of life: birth, growth, transformation, return. By holding it, we remember that we are within this circle and not outside of it. That each phase of life, even the most silent ones, carries its beauty and its function. Youth is the seed, maturity is the fruit, and old age is the time of harvest and sharing. When we understand this, old age ceases to be an end and becomes a celebration of completeness. Thus, the act of sleeping with a coin is not superstition, but a wordless prayer. It is an invitation to presence, a reminder that true value is not kept, it is shared. And when the heart learns to trust this flow, the body follows that wisdom. For whoever rests in gratitude awakens in abundance, and whoever, upon closing their eyes, feels peace with what they have and what they are, has already discovered the first secret to longevity. There is a silent beauty in understanding that time is not an enemy, but a teacher. After 60, many begin to hear the clock's tick-tock as if it were a countdown, when in fact it is a rhythmic reminder that life still pulses, and that each beat of time is an opportunity to realign with what is essential. Edgar Cayce, in his readings, said that life is a continuous circle of learning, and that true youth is not measured by the skin, but by the vibration of the soul. When the mind rests in harmony and emotion finds peace, the body follows the same rhythm. The coin in hand during sleep becomes the meeting point between the physical and the spiritual, a reminder that the force of life has never ceased to flow, it merely changes form. It's curious how, with the passing years, human beings begin to carry more memories than plans. But perhaps the wisdom of maturity lies precisely in this, realizing that memories are not a burden, but nourishment. Each memory, each joy, each pain experienced is a fragment of accumulated light. Cayce believed that aging was, in fact, a process of internal illumination, where the body slowly fades so that the spirit shines more intensely. Sleeping with a coin in this context is like placing a spark of light in the palm of one's hand, a spark that symbolizes the eternal within the transient. By doing this, the elder remembers, even if unconsciously, that there is a richness that time cannot steal, that of the awakened spirit. Many believe that the pursuit of longevity is a race against time, but Cayce saw the opposite. Longevity is a dance with time. The secret is not to resist, but to follow life's rhythm with lightness and faith. The body, with its wrinkles and slowness, is merely the temporary clothing of the soul, and sleep, when lived with consciousness and reverence, is the moment when the soul detaches from these garments and breathes the pure air of eternity. This is why Cayce valued simple rituals before bedtime so much, because it is in the transition between waking and resting that the soul opens itself to healing. Holding a coin at that moment is a gesture that seals the pact between spirit and world. I accept who I am. I am grateful for what I have lived. I trust in what will come. This trust, he said, is the true elixir of youth. The mind that fears aging closes itself off to the flow of life, but the mind that accepts with gratitude opens the doors to renewal. There are 80-year-olds with a sparkle in their eyes that many young people do not possess, and this happens because they have learned to smile with their soul, to find beauty in stillness, to value silence. Cayce called this state rest in faith. It is a state of surrender so profound that the body, even when tired, begins to regenerate from within. And it all begins in the mind, in how you prepare for sleep, in the energy you carry with you when you close your eyes. Think of the coin as a small mirror of the universe, a circle that never ends, a symbol of continuity. When you hold it, you feel the soft weight of the metal, a weight that is almost symbolic, like that of the life that still dwells within you. This contact awakens something ancestral, the memory that we have always been part of a larger cycle, that there has always been a give and take in everything. The air we breathe is the same that trees exhale. The love we give is the same that one day returns, transformed. So it is with time. It takes nothing. It only transforms everything. The body changes, wrinkles appear, but the essence remains untouched, like gold that fire only purifies. And there is immense power in understanding this before going to sleep. When the mind rests on gratitude, the heart aligns with abundance. Cayce said that scarcity is an illusion created by separation, by the idea that we are alone, that we need to fight for everything. But when you hold the coin, it reminds you that life always offers something in return, as long as there is surrender. It is the flow of the universe. Give, trust, and allow the return to happen naturally. This vibration of trust is reflected in the body, strengthening cells, balancing hormones, calming the nervous system. The body is merely an echo of the soul, and when the soul rests, the body flourishes. At 60, 70, or beyond, there is a precious gift that few realize. Time finally becomes a friend. It no longer rushes. It walks by your side. It allows you to observe things more deeply, to notice details previously invisible. The sunset, the smell of coffee, the breeze through the window, everything gains another texture when time slows down. Cayce said that this is the beginning of true wisdom, when humans begin to see God in every simple moment. Sleeping with a coin in hand is, in a way, honoring these moments. It is a small ceremony of silent gratitude, a way of telling the universe, I recognize the value of what I have and I make space for more. And it is in this opening that longevity flourishes. For living long does not just mean prolonging days, but expanding them in meaning. There are those who live 90 years without ever having been present, and there are those who live 60 with such consciousness that they leave an eternal mark. Cayce believed that every conscious act, even that of holding a coin while sleeping, could create waves of energy that healed not only the body, but also the soul. Because when the spirit feels at peace, it reorganizes everything around it according to that harmony. It's like a song that plays in tune again after a long silence. The coin, in the end, is a symbol of remembrance, that nothing is lost, that everything transforms, and that true value is not in what we accumulate but in what we understand. After 60, life ceases to be a race and becomes a contemplation. And it is in this contemplation that the secret of longevity reveals itself, not as a formula but as a feeling, a state of peace so profound that time, finally, surrenders and begins to walk silently by our side. There is a silent and subtle moment when a person realizes that life has never been about how much time we have, but about the quality of presence with which we live each moment. Edgar Cayce said that the soul does not measure life in years, but in states of consciousness. And it is this awakened and serene consciousness that transforms old age into fullness and the simple gesture of holding a coin into a symbol of wisdom. After 60, the body may slow down, but the spirit gains space to shine. It is as if each night, as we fall asleep with the coin in hand, we are saying to the universe, I accept time, but I am not bound by it. I rest in the eternal. The secret to longevity that Cayce revealed was not a hidden mystery in formulas or complex rituals. It was a simple spiritual truth. The body is a reflection of what the soul believes. If the mind lives in conflict, the body becomes ill. But if the mind rests in trust and gratitude, The body finds its natural rhythm of healing. And that is why sleep, for Cayce, was the most sacred moment of existence, the point where the human touches the divine. Sleeping with a coin is, in this sense, a way to align matter with spirit, to transform rest into a silent prayer. The coin is just the symbol. The true power lies in the intention that accompanies it. When we hold something small and simple, like a coin, before sleeping, we are reminded that the value of life is not in what we possess, but in what we recognize as sacred. This attitude awakens a vibration of gratitude, and gratitude is, according to Cayce, the most healing energy that exists. It opens the heart, dissolves fears, and rekindles the link with the divine. Modern science, even with different words, confirms this. People who cultivate gratitude sleep better, have lower stress levels, and live longer. Biology merely translates what Cayce already knew in spirit, that what we feel deeply is engraved in our cells and shapes our destiny. After 60, life invites us to make peace with our own time. And making peace with time is, essentially, making peace with oneself. The coin in hand represents this silent pact, the recognition that everything we have lived, even the mistakes and pains, has been part of our growth. When we hold this small symbol before sleeping, we are telling our soul, I accept my story. I free myself from the burden of the past. I trust in what will come. This acceptance is true rejuvenation, for what ages is not the body, it is the resistance to what is. Edgar Cayce often stated that each person has within them a center of light, an inexhaustible spiritual source that keeps the body and mind in harmony. But for this light to manifest, inner silence must be created, and sleep, when lived with purpose, is the deepest of silences. Sleeping with the coin is creating a symbolic bridge between the material and the spiritual, reminding us that abundance does not come from what we hold, but from what we allow to flow. The coin is round for a reason. It represents the eternal cycle of giving and returning. Those who understand this flow do not fear time because they know that nothing is lost. Everything transforms. And here lies the final secret of longevity, living in a state of flow. Nature teaches us this every day. The river does not dispute the path it must follow. It just flows. Trees do not despair when they lose their leaves. They simply trust that spring will return. Similarly, the human being who learns to live in flow, without resisting what comes and without clinging to what goes, finds the eternal youth of the soul. Cayce called this spiritual harmony and said that it manifests physically in the serenity of the gaze, the softness of the voice, and the vitality that emanates even from the most aged bodies. When you fall asleep with the coin in your hand, you are practicing this state of flow. You are allowing the energy of the universe to continue circulating through you without blockages. You are reminding yourself that the true value of life is not measured in possessions but in peace, and this peace is the fertile ground of longevity, because the body ages when it fights against life, but renews itself when it surrenders to it. It is not time that wears us down. It is resistance. The soul that trusts lives lightly, and everything that is light lasts longer. There is a subtle and silent turning point when a person realizes that old age is not the end of a path, but the blossoming of another kind of wisdom. It is the time when the soul turns inward and finally begins to understand what it once only believed. It is the moment when the heart understands that every loss was, in fact, a call to the essential. The coin in this symbolic gesture is a reminder that even the simplest object can contain a cosmic meaning when touched with consciousness. For the universe speaks through symbols, and each of them is a language of the divine translated into form. So, as you fall asleep tonight, perhaps it is worth trying. Holding a small coin in the palm of your hand, closing your eyes, and breathing calmly. Feel the weight of the metal, the initial coolness that little by little warms with the heat of your skin. This is the instant when the visible unites with the invisible, when the body hands over command to the soul. Think, then, of everything you have lived, the people you have loved, the stories you have built, and in silence say to yourself, all this has value, and I am grateful. This simple phrase, truly felt, has the power to reorder your energetic field. And when the field aligns, the body follows, lighter, more serene, more alive. The secret to longevity is not to resist time, but to harmonize with it. It is to understand that each phase has its light, and that aging is merely the soul approaching its true brilliance. The coin is just a symbol, a reminder that abundance and faith have always been in your hands. When the spirit rests in gratitude, the body becomes a temple of peace. And when the mind surrenders to the silence of the night with trust, the universe responds with life in fullness. Because in the end, longevity is not a number. It is a state of soul. And whoever sleeps with faith awakens with life. Whoever falls asleep in peace awakens renewed. And whoever understands that the value of existence fits in the palm of a hand discovers that the secret of eternity has always been, silently, within them. Now, if this message has touched your heart, share in the comments what it awakened in you. And if you wish to continue this journey of self-knowledge and light, subscribe to follow us. There is much more to discover, and time, after all, is always on the side of those who awaken to the eternal.